Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Let Duterte do his job. Obey and stay safe. Some of you are aware of Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte's tough stance on drugs. I will read to you about violating his warning that came out a handful of days ago for the police and military to shoot anyone who created trouble with recent coronavirus restraints. I'm sure many of you were appalled at such a statement. Those same people also recall the war on drugs in the Philippines that he has been waging. Today I'm going to let it all out about how I feel about this, and I encourage you to think about these issues and leave a comment in YouTube or the Community Corner message forums, and to subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea. I will relate this topic today to love, as you will see. I know this will make some people uncomfortable, but that's life. No fluff in this video. This is about real life today. I don't relish doing this, but I do have strong feelings about this. This will be the most controversial topic that I have chosen. Love is actually a controversial topic, as too few people know what it is, and I have spent ample time describing it. That actually has to do with today's controversial topic, the love I have for my wife and her family in the Philippines. I married her in 2015. She is in the United States with me now. We would like to retire in the Philippines as soon as we can retire. The state of affairs there in the future, as well as present, is of interest to me. I'm going to give my views on strongman Rodrigo Duterte as it relates to his love for his Filipino people, and try to support them, although I know many will think my stance is tenuous at best, or maybe even reprehensible. I don't make videos to humor or appease anyone. I just try to be honest, try to explain my point. I'll try not to take much time, but there is a lot to say. I will read to you from an Al Jazeera article and other news agencies in just a little bit. I will cut to the chase now so I don't lose you. If President Duterte orders the deaths of people using and or selling drugs because it is a menace to his country, so be it. Let him do what he thinks is best. He is the president, not you. I am sure he doesn't take this lightly. He has a big-time job to do, and that is to protect his people. I think that is government's number one priority. He is trying to clean up a major drug problem the only way he thinks will work. Good for him. If I'm going to live there someday, I want the Philippines to be as safe as possible, even though I know he won't be in charge at that time. Please don't get sidetracked by the fact there have been some unfortunate casualties. No one is proud of that. He has a very difficult job to do, and he's not afraid to do it. I know many are bothered by strong leadership. Real quickly, touching on this topic of, I guess you call it death penalty for doing certain things. Back in the biblical days, there were many ways to be punished by death that didn't involve killing someone first. Just rip through this list here from Leviticus 20, starting in verse 9. For everyone that curses his father or mother shall surely be put to death. His blood shall be upon him. Next verse, the man that commits adultery with another man's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. Next verse, the man that lies with his father's wife, both of them shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. Next verse, if a man lie with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall surely be put to death. Next verse, if a man also lie with mankind as he lies with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination, they shall surely be put to death. Next verse, if a man take a wife and her mother, it is wickedness. They shall be burned with fire, both he and they. And the next verse, if a man lie with a beast, he shall surely be put to death and slay the beast. Next verse, if a woman approach unto any beast and lie down thereunto, thou shalt kill the woman and the beast, they shall surely be put to death, their blood shall be upon them. Now, murder wasn't even in view here. This was a theocracy, a word first used by Josephus to denote that the Jews were under the direct government of God himself. And God is a perfect leader. The nation was in all things subject to the will of their invisible king. All the people were the servants of Jehovah, who ruled over their public and private affairs, communicating to them his will through the medium of the prophets. They were the subjects of a heavenly, not an earthly king. They were Jehovah's own subjects, ruled directly by him. President Duterte is a lawyer, a prosecutor. He knows the law. He understands the consequences. He is a smart man. He was overwhelmingly elected to do his job, and frankly, I think the main concern at the time was the drugs. Those of you in Davao City are aware of the changes he made while mayor there for over 20 years or more. He is not wishy-washy. He gets things done. Now to the article I saw this morning. Man shot dead in Philippines for flouting coronavirus rules. Country's first reported case of police shooting a civilian for refusing to follow restrictions to curb coronavirus. The number of coronavirus-infected cases in the Philippines is more than 3,000, while nearly 150 have died. A 63-year-old man was shot dead in the Philippines after threatening village officials and police with a scythe at a coronavirus checkpoint, police said on Saturday. A scythe is an implement used for mowing grass, grain, or other crops and composed of a long, curving blade fastened at an angle to a long handle. So it certainly is something that can be threatening. The man is believed to have been drunk when he threatened village officials, which I had wondered, and police manning the checkpoint in the town of Nasipit in the southern province of Agusan del Norte on Thursday, a police report said. I apologize if I didn't get those pronounced correctly. Quote, the suspect was cautioned by a village health worker for not wearing a face mask, the report said. But the suspect got angry, uttering provoking words, and eventually attacked the personnel using a scythe. The suspect was shot dead by a police officer who was trying to pacify him. The incident is the first reported case of police shooting a civilian for refusing to follow restrictions to curb the spread of the novel coronavirus. Duterte's warning. Still from the article, President Rodrigo Duterte had warned on Wednesday he would order the police and the military to shoot anyone who created trouble. Quote, follow the government at this time because it is critical that we have order, unquote, he said in a late-night televised national address. And also he said, quote, do not harm the health workers, the doctors, because that is a serious crime. My orders to the police and the military, if anyone creates trouble and their lives are in danger, shoot them dead. End of quote. The Philippines' main island of Luzon has been a month-long lockdown since March 16th, prohibiting people from leaving their homes except for essential trips to the grocery or the pharmacy or if they are frontline workers. Many provinces outside of Luzon have also imposed their own restrictions in a bid to prevent the virus from spreading. The Department of Health reported 76 new confirmed cases of infection in the Philippines, bringing to 3,094 the total tally in the country. 8 additional deaths were also reported, pushing the death toll to 144. And then it says, well, 57 patients have recovered. Duterte defended his warning against troublemakers in another late-night televised address on Friday, saying the public needed to realize the gravity of the situation because anyone can get sick of the disease. He says, without these restrictions, this will not end, he said. So if you don't want to follow, then I will finish you to protect the lives of the innocent who don't want to die. End of quote. Continuing with the article, attacking freedoms. Now, Amnesty International lamented the fact that strongmen leaders around the world like Duterte have been using the COVID-19 pandemic to, quote, further stifle criticism and dissent. End of quote. They also say, quote, this is an unprecedented health crisis, but President Duterte is focusing on attacking freedoms of speech and assembly. End of quote, said Butch Alano, director for Amnesty International in the Philippines. And he is quoted as saying he is downplaying the nation's plea for better services when the priority should be to fulfill the government's obligation to provide health care and vital relief to all persons without discrimination, he added. And that's the end of his quote. Let me interrupt here. I like how Amnesty International is telling the Philippines what to do. Not. Back to the article. The government has begun to distribute cash assistance to poor families and workers affected by the lockdown under a 200 billion peso, $4 billion amelioration package. But there have been persistent complaints of delays in the delivery of assistance, especially food packs. Going back to Wednesday, a commotion broke out in a Manila suburb when a group of slum residents gathered outside their shanty homes after hearing rumors that donations would be distributed. Village security officers Officers and police urged the residents to go back to their homes, but they refused. 21 of the residents were arrested and various criminal charges have been filed against them. That's the end of the article. And then later, Duterte said that he won't tolerate that sort of thing, and then his latest decree was given. Now, let's let the blood pressure settle down here. I am all about love with this channel. I love my wife. I love her family. I want them safe and protected. You're welcome to disagree on my thoughts on these taboo topics, but I don't understand being afraid to talk about what's important and needs to be talked about. If you're a Filipino, a Westerner thinking about living there, or an expat currently living there, you surely have an opinion. Maybe here's a place you can do that. Leave a comment if you are inclined. This is about having love for your neighbor. Love your neighbor as yourself is the biblical admonition. We already love ourselves. We need to love our neighbor too. All those youth foolishly going certain places on spring break and getting infected, they were selfish, only thinking of themselves. I was told there's a video out where a father refused to let his son in the house with him after returning from spring break. Good for him. That's tough love. In this world, he has become as soft as Charmin. I'm okay with denying them health care too, if they're going to go out there and recklessly live like that. Now, for the record, I don't agree with everything Duterte does. I'm just focusing on this one topic here. As someone married to a Filipina who loves her family too, I don't want anyone out there to carelessly infect one of them by violating clearly stated rules. If they know what the consequences are, go ahead and disobey. Forfeit your life. This protects the family I care for in the Philippines, who matter a great deal to my love beyond the sea.